Hey, what's up, guys? Tony here. And, I'll be honest, when I finished finals, I thought I was going to have so much time to do videos, make videos, do commentaries. And to be honest, what I have found is that I have sat on my ass since Friday and I haven't done shit. I just, like, I've done things, but I haven't done the commentaries and the videos and the things that I wanted to do. Just hasn't happened yet. So here we go. I'm gonna try to start like a marathon of commentaries so I can post videos while I'm away, or else it'll get kind of boring around the channel for 3 weeks and people might be like, what the fuck, Tony, where are you? Anyways, what some people have asked me about, and I put a tweet about it, is the job situation. Just to sort of recap for you guys who don't remember or are catching this video before you saw the one before this. I had a coworker, well, I had a manager who was particularly, I don't want to say mean to me, but was rude to a lot of people. And so I did the class commentary about this, was about respect and how I've lost all respect for her because of the way she acts, the way she treats herself, or not treats herself, but the way she treats other people. And I think it's reflective upon how she is treated in her, like, quote, real life. And so basically, when I did that commentary, not like a week later, the Thursday after I did that commentary, I'd have to go back and look at the date and see how long it was. But it was a Thursday. I was really busy with finals and stuff, and usually this guy Patrick, he's a cool manager, he usually works. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get some work done. And I got to work like 15 minutes late. And so when I got to work, Patrick's car wasn't there. I was like, oh great, because Kenna's car was there. I was like, shit, that sucks. And I knew she was gonna be all, she was just confrontational about a lot of things. And so I go in, and I probably didn't help the situation out at all, but I go in and the first things out of her mouth are, why are you late? She was like really super bitchy about it. And I being kind of smart asshole because I'm getting here 15 minutes late. Because 15 minutes after 5:30. What do you want? And she throws out this comment, I'm the manager and I deserve to know why you're late. Yeah, that's what she said. I usually, for some reason I kept switching deserve and demand, but she's like, I'm the manager and I deserve to know why you're late. And she's just like in front of everybody, in front of the whole store. And I'm just like, what can I say? I'm late. I wasn't about to tell her, it's like, hey, look, you know what, maybe I had a personal thing. It's not really your right to know why I'm late. I should have been more courteous about it and like called, say, hey, I'm going to be a little late. But I thought Patrick was working and he's a totally chill guy. He's just like, whatever, So I didn't think I was going to have to deal with this. So then, one, I didn't really want to be there anyways because I was writing my paper, one of my mini papers for finals. And two, Kenna was working and I really didn't want to work with her at all. So I take my first delivery and it wasn't really busy at all, and that's the thing. That's probably what helped out this situation. So it really wasn't busy at all. And so what I did is took my first delivery, and I was thinking about it. I was just like, man, I really don't want to be here. I really want to be working on my paper. My intention was to just not go to work and stay on campus and work on my paper all night long. So the library closed at 9, and I worked at 5:30. But I opted. I'm like, I need money for Europe, so I'll go. So I take my first delivery, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this girl for the next 4 hours. It's just going to be a very uncomfortable situation because she makes the work environment very hostile. So I get back to my delivery and it's still not particularly busy. And so then her friend slash boyfriend slash my friend, though there's a lot of slashes involved in that. This guy Stro, I've talked about him before. He's a guy with the blue Subaru. He goes out on a delivery and I take a box out and I go walk out with him. And I'm just like, how bad would Kenna flip if I decide just to go home? Just be like, here's my $19 because we get $20 for a bank, and every time we take a delivery we get $1. So boom, I took one delivery. Here's your $19. I'm going home. And he's like, dude, she's gonna shit, man. She'll fucking flip if you leave. I'm like, all right. So then I was out there longer than I should have been. And people started, like, guys who were behind me on the delivery screen were like coming out with deliveries. I'm like, whoa, did you guys take my delivery? And they're like, no, 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 you know, you got one in there. Oh, so I go in there and I walk in and Kenna was like, where were you? She's like yelling at me. I was like, I was outside taking a box. And she's like, really? And I said, yeah, really, I was taking a box out. Go, you know, ease up. And then I take this delivery, and it's one of those gigantic new big box things that Pizza Hut has. They're really obnoxious to have to deliver because they're just awkward, and it's just people don't seem to understand. And then she says something, I don't remember what it is. She said something, and it set me off. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back. So I put the Pizza Hut bag down, pulled out my $20, you know, wad of bank, threw $1 down, and I told her that, you know what, here's my $19, I'm done for the night. And then of course she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I'm done, you know. And then we got into a verbal confrontation in front of the entire store. And I've had to yell at people before, like actually yell at people before. And it's not really something that I like to do, but it's something that I can do. And it was I always find it interesting, the changes in people's personality when they get into some sort of confrontation. Like, I was kind of mad. Like, I was mad, but I was controlled. Like, I was actually mad where I could feel, like, my body. I don't know if you've ever been that mad before. You can feel your body sort of, like, your muscles, like, flexing or shaking with, like, adrenaline stuff. And so I was yelling at her. It wasn't like a yell, like, at the top of my lungs yell. It was like it started out like sternly talking to her, and then it went into excuse me. So it started out with me sternly talking to her, and then it went into like me talking over her because she would try to say something, and I'd say something, and then at one point, it never got to like a full yell, but it was one of those things where I let her know that, I don't know how else to put it because it sounds so like egotistical, but you know, like you let them know that you're the man. You're like, you know, I don't know how else to put it. It sounds so stupid, but anyways, the changes in her personality were like 180 degrees, man. She went from like being this bitch to being the person like with the shoulders curled and like the scared look in her eyes. You know, it was just like, when push came to shove, and then she was faced with somebody who is, I don't really consider myself a threatening person. I'm not going to hit anybody, especially not a woman. But, you know, when you're 6'3" and you weigh 200, like I weigh about 215 or 220 pounds, sometimes at my most, I'll weigh 225. I guess people can be kind of intimidated by a bigger guy. And she's like, I don't know, 5'11", 5'10", 115 pounds maybe. Anyway, she backed down really quick, and she's just like, well, I'm sorry, could you like take one more, you know? And I'm like, nope. I said, this is your bed, you've made it, now you gotta sleep in it, this is your problem, and this is the consequences to your constant actions, you know, your disrespect, you know. And I told her that out of the 12 years that I've been working, I have never come across anyone so disrespectful. And anyway, so we had a big blowout. So I left, went home. I sent my buddy Stro a text message. I'm like, I think I just got fired. And what I did do is I told Kenna that I would be in the next morning to talk to our boss about it. And so I did that. I was kind of nervous too going in because, well, here's my thought process. My boss is the kind of guy where he doesn't have a problem setting an example if he needs to. And so I figured one of two things were going to happen. Either I was going to get fired after talking to him, or before he get a chance to talk to him, or things would be okay. And so one thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to wait until Friday when I had to work, go in there and give him the opportunity to just like make an example out of me, you know, and have him yell at me in front of the entire store. Because that thought did cross my mind. So I went in there early morning, so I wanted to make sure early on in the day whether I was fired or not. And so I walked in, and we had a very good, like 30-minute long conversation. And so he and I talked it over, and he's like, well, right now, you know, you're not gonna get fired. I'm gonna talk to the other people that are working, and we'll figure out what's going on, and I'll let you know by Sunday. So he told me not to work Friday, and so then I just worked Sunday. So I came in on Sunday, and he was working that Sunday intentionally, I guess. And he's like, no, yeah, we're all good to go. I was like, okay, cool. But I knew from that moment on, I was walking on eggshells. Like, I just had that feeling. Like, that day at work, I kept myself busy, like, doing the most random shit. Just so I wasn't, like, the guy not working, you know, so he couldn't give me some grief. And, that in itself came to a head last Saturday because, I had taken the night off to go to a holiday party. And so it was like 5:30. It was so this would be Saturday, like the Saturday after finals. So anyways, so I'm heading up to my girlfriend's house, which she lives like, I don't know, 45 minutes north of me. And so I get a text message from a random number. It doesn't even have a name on it, and it says like, "Are you coming to work? Are you coming in tonight?" And I write back, "Work?" You know, question mark. Said, Kenny, I have the night off. Kenny gave me the night off 2 weeks ago. And so I could tell it was my boss, because the next text message was like, well, you've been on the schedule since the 9th of December, you know. Anyway, so we get into a text message like battle, if you will. It's not even a battle. I'm actually explaining like what's going on. I said, well, he asked if I put it in the computer, and I said, well, no, because when I went to go put it in the computer, Kenna, and this was like a week before our blowout, Kenna had given me the day off because she was working on the back computer, which is the only computer you can take the day off from. So she was back there working on the schedule, and I was like, hey, can I use the computer? And she's like, well, what do you need? I said, I want to take next Saturday off. And she's just kind of like, she gave me a look, and she eventually gave me the day off. She wrote down, and we have a preliminary schedule that they print out. So they show 2 weeks worth of scheduling. So the week that you're working, and then below that is the next week's schedule. Well, she took the preliminary schedule for the following week, and she wrote it on there. And so I was like, she's like, okay, you're good to go. I'm like, sweet, thank you. And so I told that to Michael, and so my boss. And so anyways, he tells me that that because I didn't put it in the computer, you know, and that I've been on the schedule since the 9th, which was funny because when I requested it off, it was like the 3rd of December. Anyways, he's like, well, I'm gonna consider this a no call, no show, and you're gonna be written up for it. And I'm like, seriously? You know, you're like, I reiterated my point of view, and I was like, I'm gonna get blamed for somebody else's mistake, because ultimately I think I got verbal confirmation that I got the night off by the person who makes the schedule, and that she fucked up. And I asked him if he had sent her a text message or called her to clarify, to which he obviously didn't. So anyways, he basically told me that if I wanted to continue having this sort of engagement with him, then I could be unemployed. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll shut up. And so that that sat with me all night long. And I stopped thinking about it for a while, and I didn't really care after a while. I was at a holiday party, and I was just having fun and stuff. So during the night, I did send a couple text messages to Kenna. Oh, and by the way, to go back to the other story, I called her the next day, that Friday, and I apologized. I told her that I didn't handle it right, you know, and that you know, it was just one of those emotional flares, and we both agreed that it was one of those situations where we don't talk to each other both ways. It's, you know, in the most professional manner, because we do know we have a mutual friend, and so we think we've got this familiarity that that we don't give to other people. And so we kind of worked our thing out. So fast forward to a week later, when I talked to when I sent her a text message, I'm like, hey, look, did Michael get a hold of you or call you? And she's like, no, why? I was like, okay, well, this is what's going on. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I could call him and let him know. And I told her no, because I didn't want her to get involved, because I didn't want to press the issue, because I didn't feel like having Michael fire me. And so the next morning, when I was driving back home from my girlfriend's house, I I don't know, I was just driving home and it was a desert morning and the light was really beautiful and it's just like, I don't need this. Like, I already can tell that I'm gonna go into work and it'll just be so hostile. Like, he'll look for reasons to fire me. And that's what it felt like, because I check my schedule every time I go into work, and I walk in, I'm like, okay, and I remember on Tuesday, because that's one of the things, he's like, why didn't you tell me that on Tuesday? I'm like, this guy never works on Tuesdays anyway, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Anyways, I go into work, and I noticed on the work schedule on Tuesday that I work Tuesday, Sunday that week. And I was totally stoked about it because I had finals. And I was like, sweet, I got the whole week off to finish these papers, get everything done. And then come Saturday, suddenly I'm working Saturday. I'm like, what is this crap all about? Anyway, so Kenna tells me later on that Michael is prone to changing the schedule on her without a notice to anybody. Just sort of, boom, new schedule goes up. But that was, the schedule was already posted. So I don't know. I got this feeling like, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I got a feeling that he was sort of provoking me into a fight. And then when I talked to my buddy Stro about it, who's been working there for years, he's like one of the last old drivers. Like, they've hired a slew of new drivers. And so his theory is that this guy Michael's trying to flush all the old drivers out and bring in new people. And it might be the case, I don't know. But if I felt as if I was being provoked into a fight so he could fire me, or so I would quit, and so I did quit. So yeah, so anyways guys, that's my job situation. I'm currently unemployed as I'm heading out to Europe, which is a little stressful because when I get back, I'm not gonna have any money. I'm gonna have to find a job and all that stuff. So yeah, it kind of sucks. But anyways guys, that's the story. Those of you guys who've been asking about it, now you know. So thanks for watching guys, thanks for subscribing, and I'll talk to you later.